Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with part 4 of the Zero Tolerance Sprint Run videos. If you follow my channel, you know that I've made a series of reviews on these awesome new Zero Tolerance Sprint Runs that have been coming out recently, and I just wanted to sort of make a video here where I give an updated sort of perspective on each one of these knives, and then sort of talk about why I'm such a big fan of ZT, why I have 5 of their knives in my personal collection, and talk about why I think they do a good job with their limited edition models. So what I want to start out with is to discuss each of these knives that you've seen on my channel, give you an updated perspective on them. So the first knife that I reviewed was the 0452 CF M390 Blue. This knife is a 4.1 inch blade made of M390, which most people agree is one of the very best knife steels on the market today. It has excellent corrosion resistance and excellent edge retention and toughness, so a very nice balance in terms of chemistry on that blade steel. I have been carrying this. It's very, very lightweight for the length. Coming in at 4 ounces, it's very nice to carry. But I will say that it is a little bit too long for my EDC uses. I carry my knives in the waistband, which I think Nut and Fancy had a video about how that was like the worst thing you could possibly do. But it's the way that I have to carry it. I wear scrubs every day and I carry a knife, and in order to do that I have to carry it at the waistline. So when I do that and I put this in, it's like jutting out against my thigh or against my hip, and it kind of protrudes. And honestly, if I wear it on the front of my waistline, which I am apt to do sometimes because there's a nice little hiding spot there, it kind of looks like my dong is sticking out, and that's a little awkward. So I have not been carrying this knife very much, and in fact I have recently put it for sale. So if you are one of my subscribers and you are interested in this knife, definitely hit me up in the comments down below. Shoot me a message, and I will give you special consideration as one of the Dr. Frunkey followers. So what I will say about this knife, I love it. You know, I wish that it was a bit more EDC friendly for me, because the action is out of this world. I don't know of many knives that are quite this smooth. It is certainly the smoothest knife in my personal collection, in the sense that it just rockets out. It's incredibly smooth. The detent is utter perfection. It flies out and just, oh, it's solid. And that smoothness also translates into the closing of the knife. And as you can see, I really have to give that minimal effort. Now, to play devil's advocate here, you know, that smoothness is also a problem because it sort of drops down quickly. If you don't catch the flipper tab right there, if you're not careful to catch it with your thumb, that blade will drop down and guillotine your friggin' thumb right off if you are not careful. So definitely something to be cognizant about, but the smoothness is out of control, and there's no blade play there. It's not like it's a loose pivot that makes it so smooth like that. It's a really, really well done knife. The second knife that I reviewed was the 0801 BRZ. This knife is sort of undergoing a slow but steady transformation right now. You'll notice that it has a even different appearance than it does in stock form. I have been modifying this knife with some of the MXG gear hardware that you saw on the Molon Labe knife, which we'll get to in a minute. I've been carrying this knife from time to time, probably 2 or 3 or 4 times since I got it. Not many times, because it's still undergoing this transformation. I haven't really been able to Loctite everything down the way I want to right now, so I do play with it at home where I can sort of continuously adjust it as needed. But I absolutely love this knife. This one is not going to be for sale for quite some time because the ergonomics are phenomenal. The big-ass piece of M390 in the satin finish is absolutely beautiful, and I'm really, really liking that finish. And to be honest, getting this bronze titanium hardware from MXG put on this thing is really transforming this into even another level of awesomeness. So check out that bronze pocket clip with the bronze titanium screws there. It's got the bronze pivot, the bronze lock insert screw, pivot, standoffs, and all I'm waiting on are the screws, the body screws. So little hint and tip, if you enjoy modifying your knives and you followed my channel and you decided to get some MXG hardware for your 0801 BRZ, these screws need to be shorter. So the regular 0801 has a totally flat scale, so these screws are longer on the stock model. They need to be shorter in order to go into these standoffs the right way. So you got to talk to him before you order that. But the action is awesome. The flipping action is really smooth. It's got a nice balance. This one is loose and it will drop down, but it's not so loose that it's going to cut your finger off. I kind of like to have a little tension on the detent ball as the knife goes down so that it falls in a controlled fashion, and it's easier to predict and manipulate. So really, really enjoying this knife. Just look at that blade sitting in there and the reflection that you get in those holes. And those holes also function beautifully. You put your thumb right in that top one and you have got the perfect position for opening that knife. It's just well thought out. A cool thing that I noticed is that if you look really closely, there's a hole in the frame right there. Let me see if I can get this to focus appropriately. A little bit better, but look at that. There's a hole back here. So those speed holes kind of add a new dimension to this knife where you can kind of see through the whole thing like that. Kind of neat. So to sum up, great blade, great handle, beautiful aesthetics, really nice action, perfect EDC size at 3.5 inches. That's my preferred blade size for my size of hand and the EDC needs that I have. Really loving this thing. So if you can pick one up, I think they're still for sale at maybe knifeart.com. Most other retailers are actually sold out. So these will be hitting the secondary market, I'm sure, in the near future. The last knife I wanted to talk about was the knife that you saw me modify, and that is the 0808 Molon Labe. This knife was an exclusive run with Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I am just in love with this knife. The finish is gorgeous, and with this bronzed hardware, it really became the knife that it was really supposed to be. I think that Zero Tolerance could have really upped the ante on this knife. They charge an extra $40 for the knife, but all they really did was paint it brown and give it this clip. So, and they left the same backspacers. So I think that the price premium was a little bit unwarranted. Maybe $220 would have been more reasonable, but they did sell out pretty quickly. So, you know, good on ZT for at least getting their money out of it. But they should have, I think, made it a little bit more striking. And this titanium hardware really makes it the perfect little stunner. Every time I pull this out, people are just fascinated by it. Men and women, young and old, you know, whoever is looking. It's not a threatening knife. With this brown appearance, you know, it doesn't look like a tactical knife. It just looks like a little friendly little blade. The actual cutting edge is fairly subtle, so it doesn't threaten people or scare people. And the brown and gold is nice looking. I have really enjoyed carrying it. It's a nice weight. It's solid yet small. I kind of enjoy that balance where I get the small knife. The weight is not usually a big issue for me. Anywhere from like 3 to 6 ounces I'm going to be okay carrying any day. You know, 2 to 6 ounces is fine. Much above 6 ounces and I start to have trouble. But this one is sitting right in the 4 to 5 ounce range and really nice. And the small form factor allows me to carry it well in my particular way. The action is very, very, very smooth. The detent is beautiful. I will say I sold my original 0808 because of the same problem that I'm having with this knife. And I think it's just a problem that's inherent to the 0808 and Dr. Frunkey's hands. I have big hands, you know, large size gloves, size 8 sterile gloves. When my fat finger tries to get on this tiny little flipper tab, every now and again, it's just slipping. I even did it on my review video while I was talking about it, totally not on purpose. You know, I try to fire this knife and every now and then my finger won't get traction. So you have to be really careful and conscious to push button it really hard to make it work. But when it does come out, it's very smooth and it locks up every time. Now, I took the custom clip off of it and I put the Spartan clip back on because I I really think that that just makes the knife a complete package. To have the Molon Labe, to have the Spartan helmet on there, very, very necessary to have a complete package there. So I did that, loving it, loving it, loving it. However, because of that flipper tab problem, I don't think that I'm going to be able to live with this knife, because I think over a long enough period of time, that little annoyance is going to keep this thing out of my pocket in preference of a knife that I can flip every single time without worrying about it. So you can look for this one for sale probably in the immediate future as well. So we've completed the sprint runs, and these are all phenomenal knives. Really happy that I've been able to use and appreciate all three of these. They're still in very excellent condition, really no wear of any kind on any of these knives. So no, I'm not really a hard user on my knives. We all know that at this stage of knife collecting, at this sort of cost and everything, that we're sort of getting into pocket art and sort of man's jewelry rather than, hard use stuff. If I want a really hard use knife, I'm going to use, a kind of a junkier, cheaper knife probably if I'm going to tear something up. But if I have general cutting tasks that aren't going to tear a blade up, I'm going to use one of these nicer, higher end knives. So now let's get into the next level of zero tolerance quality and manufacturing, and that is the factory custom limited editions. So, we've got the 0392s over here, and I'm going to make a separate video talking about these two knives and comparing them. So I'm not going to go into great detail here, but Zero Tolerance has a level even above their sprint runs where they make basically semi-custom or mid-tech knives available to the public. This is a Rick Hinderer Eclipse in terms of the handle, and then Zero Tolerance puts their own blade on it. Really, really awesome, perfectly executed. I love carrying this knife. I carry this knife as much as I physically can. Now, since making this channel, I've kind of had a lot of knives coming in and coming out to keep things active here, but I try to pocket that guy at least once a week. A knife that maybe you haven't seen on my channel is the 0392 Wharncliffe edition. I actually owned this knife after, right when it came out. I bought it, and I have been pocketing this knife, but it's been gone for a few weeks, and that is because it was visiting with Mr. Nick Shabazz. Nick Shabazz is going to have a review on this knife coming up, and really excited to hear what he has to say about it. I really like the Wharncliffe appearance. I think that the blade is just undeniably sexy looking, very aggressive. I think if Batman had a knife, this is the knife he should carry. Really aggressive. Really, really nice. But I think that the overall tactical nature and the overall thinness and pointiness of the tip here is going to keep me from using this knife as frequently as this 0392. So I think that I'm going to, I don't think I should keep this. And because of that, I have actually sold this knife. This knife is going to fly halfway across the world to Greece. But now that I've got it back from Mr. Shabazz, I'm going to cram in a couple of videos starring this guy because he's just got undeniable camera presence, really and truly. Just an awesome knife. So I'm glad I was able to bring these knives together, show you a little bit about the Zero Tolerance limited editions and everything. Now let's talk about why I think that they do such a good job with them. I think Zero Tolerance has really mastered the art of social media. They have a great website. They are active on Facebook. They're active on Instagram. They're able to get their information out there quickly. And they do exciting and different things all the time, This knife it just came out of nowhere. Like, who would have thought that they would have done a knife that is brown with Molon Labe on it? It's just different, This is a complete remake and rethink of the 0801. They didn't just, anodize it blue, Okay, they did that to this knife. All right, that's a little bit boring, I'm not going to lie. But it takes it to that next level where someone like me who didn't buy the original 452 finally got one because it has that little extra hint of cool that makes it worth buying. But this one is like totally redone. I mean, they charged $240 for this knife. They could have charged $340, and I'm sure that people still would have bought it. And it is at that level. I've had knives that cost more than this that do not even come close to the quality level of this knife. So props to ZT for introducing new and exciting innovations to even their production lines. And you just got to love that they even strive to go even higher. And some of the factory customs that are coming out in the next year or so are just mouth-watering. They've got the one coming out with Dmitry Sienkiewicz, which is just out of this world. It looks like an alien spaceship. And they've got another one. Oh man, the collaboration is escaping me right now. It's a father and son combo. I think it was like the 0606 or something. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. In any case, just mouth-watering limited editions coming in the $400 range. These in about the $250 range. And so to have an American company, yes, I'm an American, to have a U.S. company making these kind of high-quality products in the U.S. and constantly innovating, constantly improving is just really nice to see. So I'm really a big fan of ZT. Guys, I hope that you keep doing what you're doing over there and keep making these wonderful products. So thank you so much. If you like my videos, guys, click like and subscribe to the Dr. Frunkey channel. Certainly more videos on the way. I have a real Rick Hinderer coming in, a Warncliffe Fatty edition. I'm going to have a video on that here in the near future. I've got a couple of neat knives that have come in from a few friends that are on loan right now. A couple new knife consults coming up, so keep an eye out for that on the channel. As always, guys, this is Dr. Frunkey saying take care.